Alrighty, yo, what is up, Knights? Aegis Rick here, back with some more DFO account dailies, which, I've got to be honest now, this is, I don't know how many times I've done this. This is maybe my 5th or 6th time I've done this video. And it's one of my favorite video concepts to kind of look back at. Yes, I do kind of sometimes look back at my old videos. For a couple reasons. This is my favorite series because not only do I get to see how the game was before, but I also get to look at how my characters were before. So it's kind of like a time capsule. I can look at what I was doing at the time years back, because I mean this series has been going on for a while now. But account dailies, guys, today is December 7th, 2018. What are we doing for dailies now? So we're going to do a little bit of the kind of dailies that are available in this game. Today is Friday, so it's not a raid day today. We do have beasts later on today. That's, I guess you could consider an account daily whenever you have to do Anton, when you have to do beast, whenever you have to do Luke. These are kinds of things that you obviously have to do. Okay, we're doing TOD here and I'm getting wrecked already. Not a great start here, but yeah, I'm talking about the kind of stuff though that are not like your raid content. Okay, I'm talking just dailies you want to do on your account to make your account better. And of course, a lot of this stuff is, you know, you don't have to do it. You know, this takes a lot of time, as you guys will soon see. But you want to have a routine and make sure you get at least some kind of bare minimum done. And in my case, my bare minimum, I don't think I have missed a single day of doing this. For years and years and years. It feels like I've done TOD the maximum amount for so long, and I still believe TOD is worthwhile to do. Now you might think, oh, what are you talking about, Rick? You're not gonna get, you know, buy the pot out of it, are you? Which, if you get to the top of the TOD, you get a Seal of Despair, and then you can use that Seal of Despair to purchase a selectable pot. Now I will say that no, I don't think it's worthwhile to do for most characters. I'd say, you know, you can just do the TOA, which is a much more efficient item. Get a much more efficient pot. I mean, it's gonna have a level 85 to 90 epic weapon instead of TOD, which could have up to 75 up to 85. Most likely, it's gonna be a level 80 weapon. But I do think it is worth it for some particular characters. Okay, one of them is my male striker here, because like my female striker has, there is a weapon that is level 75 epic that is really, really good, and that is the lightning speed epic. So in that case, I think if you have a low level epic that does still have some use like lightning speed, sure, TOD is still viable. But on top of that, even if you don't think any of the epics are viable out of TOD, the reason I've done it for so long and so consistently is because of the money efficiency. I don't think, honestly, you might be able to think of something more time efficient, but I don't think there's anything more time efficient in this game to making money as quickly as TOD. I mean, yes, I'm kind of talking about it, but if I really focused on it, if I just, you know, went back to back, cleared, left, did what I'm doing now, this would not take not even 3 minutes, honestly. 3 minutes, you are racking up a lot of items that you can sell to the NPC, millions of gold by the end of it when you get to the top of the floor, more than 5 million that you need to open. Actually, I don't think the pot takes 5 million to open anymore. I think on average you make like 6-7 million out of doing the TOD all floors, and you can do that on all of these characters. You make a lot of money. So if you're wondering, you know, is TOD worth it? I don't even bother with TOD anymore. Yes, I still think TOD is worth it. If anything, if you don't want the epics, do it on your strongest character and just, you know, make it a daily you do and you just kill them in one shot. Easy as that. Now, I still have some characters that have, you know, they had some amount of runs. I want to get them at least to floor 100 before I start using my main characters. But there are some other characters, such as my Azura, for instance, which I have some of these Simona's Letter of Recommendations, which, by the way, here's another daily you can do. Make sure that if you have the Neo Premium contract to pick this up. I've already done it and redeem it. There's a lot of items in there, of which the aforementioned Simona's Letter of Recommendation is in. So it allows you to go in twice in the TOD, because I'm trying to rush through the TOD on this character as quickly as possible. It basically allows you to go in twice a day, so I'm not going to forget to do that. But it's a really... yeah, like I said, I can't sing the TOD praises enough and why I keep doing it. I've heard so many people who don't bother doing it anymore, but look at all the white items you can get, guys. I mean, this is just on a character I didn't spend more than a couple seconds on. I'm going to get a couple 100,000 here just for doing this. So, like I said, definitely worth it for the gold at the very least. But on this character, I'm also rushing to the top because I actually want a the Invisible Sword Argus that I happen to get on my Chaos here. I'm wanting on my Azura too. So again, like I said, sometimes it's for memes like that. I don't think it's a good weapon. The level 90 and 85 are obviously stronger than the Invisible Sword, but it looks cool. So if nothing else, you know, maybe you want a cool weapon aside from a useful one. Like a lightning speed seriously is super useful. It's a good swap weapon. It's a good reset weapon. Most importantly, you can reset your lightning dance and give you infinite cooldown of the lightning dance for temporarily. So, but yeah, there's my 8 runs of TOD. Do that every day. I already have my characters obviously lined up, set up, so I know which ones are doing it. And if you didn't have that, obviously you can just rearrange your characters. But I also have a spreadsheet, which this is kind of another thing. I don't want to harp on it too much, but spreadsheets are the GOAT. Let me tell you, they are freaking awesome. They tell you, not only do they remind you of what you set out to do, you can set out all your characters, tell them what they got to do. I mean, just imagine the kinds of things. You just need something to remind you, hey, what do I got to do? Oh, on this character, I need to go to Toby in Ovengard, pick up this demon invitation box, because you get 15 free demon invitations every day, which I know this is not a daily that everybody does. In fact, I'm pretty sure people have forgotten about this daily, like me, because it's easy to rack up Carnelian, like I have almost 900 of them, but I haven't been picking up those 15 free DI. So go to Toby every day, at least on the characters that you play and do regular content, as well as going to the guild hideout. And if you have some, I'm not sure if I ran out, but if you have some, pick up the demon invitation box as well, which is 60. This is huge, actually. Getting 60 DI a day is a big deal. Let me just tell you, there's a lot of days in the year, a lot of, I wouldn't say free DI, but you can farm that up over the weekend really quickly nowadays. And the next thing, I mean, I mentioned it earlier, but I just talk about it again. The TOA is something that I don't do. This is not really a daily that gets you a lot of like value. Okay, it's a daily that I do nowadays just in case I want to get a weapon that is level 85 or 90. Okay, that's mainly the reason I've been doing TOA. Yes, you can do TOA to go up the floors, but I kind of feel like TOA right now is just a really great source of getting yourself a level 85 weapon guaranteed. And it's going to be for your class, and for some characters, especially if they have really good 85 weapons, like what you might get with this character. She has, obviously you can see I have a Planet Destroyer. I got it in the same way, but I am looking also for the level 85 weapon. Like I said, really good weapon. Damn, she dodged me. Really good weapon because it is a synergy weapon, which there are some 85 weapons that are really good at that task. They're really good synergy weapons. Destruction is a really good axe. In fact, almost all of the axes are really good in TOA out of this pot, so just something to consider, the TOA pot. But the thing about it is, if you do get a TOA pot, it's 10 million to open, which it's a really gonna dig into your resources if you get one. So I don't always farm the TOA. You can also go out the TOA to get some earrings, which I think is a secondary use out of the TOA. Once you go up to the top, or you get 100 of these and get to the top, you can get an earring pot for 2 mil. I've kind of shied away from that as of recently. I've only been doing the TOA on my stronger characters when I want to get them 85 weapons. So, and if I haven't mentioned it, yes, you can get the level 90 weapons too. It's just a smaller chance, obviously. Rely on the 85, getting an 85, and try to shoot for that at the very least. But the weapon reward, I'm just telling you right now, there are certain classes that are better than others when it comes to that. Classes who rely on synergy weapons. If you get a synergy weapon, which is 85, a level 85 weapon, it's a good thing. You don't have to always go for the damage set. In fact, in the case of my Inquis, I'm intentionally farming that set. So just something to keep in mind. All right, the next thing before we go into one of the more expected dailies is I'm going to be doing a little bit of this. I'm not going to show the whole thing, but the limited for Metro Center. Okay, this is a daily that you can do. You basically have to do all of the dungeons in Metro Center and you'll be rewarded with 90 purification stones. Now, why do you do that? Again, I've mentioned this before, but a lot of this gear that I have on right now, on almost all of my alts, again, my spreadsheet is telling me which characters don't have it yet, and it's not very many, but a lot of the gear that you get at the end game is going to be legendary set, which we'll end the video off by doing that content. But once you farm your legendary set, you're not going to have all of your equipment slots filled. You'll still have your magic stone. Usually you'll still have your ring and your necklace. Generally speaking, if you get a Gracia or a Dusky West set, that's usually how it goes. You could mix and match, but the idea is usually all of my characters still have their ring and their necklace that they need to farm, and that's where this daily comes into play, okay? Because you can go into the Red Witch NPC here and pick up this these two legendary accessories, which are very, very powerful accessories for their cost. They only cost 400 purification stones, and you get 90 a day, so it just takes like, a little bit more than 4 days to farm this thing, maybe 5 days per piece to get this thing. And the daily is really easy. Like I said, all you have to do is farm up in each of these dungeons. And you don't even have to do them at a hard difficulty. You can do them on the normal difficulty and just kind of leave it at that. So it also allows you to play your character a little bit. That's kind of the thing about me gearing up all of these alts. I don't really have all that much of a reason to do it, but at the same time, it is an excuse for me to jump onto these characters that I have bothered to make. It's just sometimes I feel like I have all these characters, but I don't have any means of actually playing them. So I guess gearing them out a little bit more, getting them ready for 95 cap is something you can do, which I think with this gear setup, people will be ready to start grinding in 95 cap whenever that content comes, as well as, Ekon. They will be strong enough, I believe, for Ekon for sure. And once 95 cap comes, I think Ekon will be another daily that will be worth doing. Because they're gonna alleviate the requirements to getting sets and stuff. It's gonna be a lot easier to get your Ekon set, and then you can, if you want, I've even heard people just go directly into 95 legendaries and farming those directly, just skipping Ekon entirely, which is kind of weird. That's the progression, but I have heard it possible, at least on some characters. So, but yeah, guys, that's kind of the idea. Make sure to go over here and pick up these Terranium as well, since you're doing these runs. I have heard some people claim that doing the Bloody Lane is a really good way to get Purification Stones. I think it is, I agree, but it's not going to be faster than just doing 5 runs of these dungeons. Again, like I said, these are dungeons you can do on the normal difficulty, and they're pretty dang quick, and you get a lot more. Bloody Lane is going to take you a little bit more to farm. I would say do that if you just need a few extra Purification Stones for your piece, but as you guys can see, I only have 7. I just need to farm this for 5 days and I'll be good. So that's another daily that I think is worth doing, just to get their sets. And I wanted to mention that at some point because after you finish farming a legendary set, you're usually not going to be completely done. Some people, I think, take what I call the lazier route, is instead of farming that these legendary accessories, some people actually like finishing the Great Glory set, which in that case you're going to have a Great Glory set accessory set, and then you'll have everything in legendaries, which I think is a okay idea, but I do believe that these accessories over here are a bit stronger. Not to mention, if your character is not very strong as is, those 5% chance to cast those proc effects actually become quite potent, especially if you're doing content that has, enemies have a lot of defense, like TOA or TOD. If you're having trouble, these kinds of proc effects are actually very, very good in there and can carry you single-handedly with these types of gear like this. So a couple uses, aside from the fact that I think the stats are really good on it too, with a bunch of crit and a lot of damage on the ring. So anyway, wanted to mention that. I think it is a little bit better than getting the Great Glory set, but up to you guys on that. Alright, I'm probably going to have to mix this one in here since this wasn't in the initial recording, but another daily that is something that I'm just doing now. It's not something I usually do on all my characters, but there's one very particular daily that I feel like a lot of people are not really doing, and that is whenever they have to farm powerful energies. My character right here, my Dragon Knight, is a character that just picked up her her crafted level 90 Kiri weapon, but she doesn't have any refinement on it, and she is a fixed damage character, and if you play one of your fixed damage characters, you need a lot of refinement on your weapon to basically increase your damage. Your reinforcement rate, that's why I haven't bothered reinforcing this thing, your reinforcement rate actually doesn't increase the damage for characters like this. Only your refinement rate does, as well as other stats. But that kind of goes without saying here then, that I need to try to find a very quick way to try to get my refinement up, which sadly easier said than done in this game. There used to be a lot of content in the game that gave powerful energies a lot simpler, and nowadays I feel like it is a lot harder. But I think Mount Cullen right here may be one of the best time efficient ways to get powerful energy. I know some people would try to sell you on some other ideas, such as, you know, maybe trying to get my rotation going here. Some people might sell you on the idea of like Suju Inferno, or sorry, the tournament, the Gold and Silver Dragon tournament. Maybe they try to sell you on that idea. I don't like it. I think this content right here is a lot faster, and it doesn't require any items. Right there, I just got 9 powerful energies because I'm getting this buff right here that gives me 200% drop rate. So just keep repeating this. Eventually you'll end up the day with maybe a couple, I think on average I end up with a little more than 100 of these, but because the dailies only take 15 seconds, 10 seconds to clear, depending on how fast you are and how good your rotation is, this kind of content is invaluable for dailies. Okay, the thing about dailies is you want to have something that's quick to do. You know, you don't want to spend too much time trying to be, you know, efficient and get more powerful energies when you can spend a lot less time and just do it every day. Okay, I'm much more privy to just burning through all your FP as quickly as possible and then doing the same thing tomorrow, instead of trying to be super efficient today and then not do nearly as much tomorrow. So it's just kind of leveraging your time more efficiently in the game. I have a lot of characters that perhaps need their refinement rate up, and oh man, rock blocked me. It still killed him though. Okay, cool. Didn't know that the dragon can completely miss and still fucking kill him anyway. But again, like I said, if you're asking me my opinion on the dailies, this is probably the best way to get powerful energies now. Don't ask me why they removed Mirror Arad and not replaced it with anything comparable, but that used to be something I would highly have suggested and done. And even before that, the Dark Elf Ruins. I love that place for powerful energies as well as all kinds of other shit. But Neopol, you done fucked up and you removed it and then didn't give us any way to get it again. So what we got now, that's probably the best place I can tell you. And hopefully you guys can manage from there. Since we're on the topic of powerful energies, I feel like I talk about this subject all the time, but sometimes it might go over people's heads that we have a weekly dungeon system. This dungeon right here gives you powerful energies. I'm not going to do it. This dungeon right here gives you legendary souls. I guess I will do this. This is an account-bound item. But yeah, if you are looking for your powerful energies, that is a really good source, but you can only enter that dungeon 3 times a week. So at least make sure, you know, this is not a daily per se, but just something that you do every week. You do your 3 runs. Now this weapon right here that I'm using on my striker is exactly the weapon I'm trying to get on my male striker. It's lightning speed, and it allows me to just lightning dance forever. So at least for 15 seconds I can just keep hitting the lightning dance button. Look at that, man. And I could just keep hitting it. It's awesome, and it only costs like white cube fragments to initiate that effect. Sometimes you can just get a reset outright too. So yeah, I mean, this is why I want this on my male striker. It's such a cool item, man. Just allows you to just keep spamming. Like, dude, I can use it again. I'm not gonna use it here. I'm gonna, like, it's gonna be available for the boss. And this is a full. The thing about it is, it's not a secret as to what's happening. Basically, oh shit, there's a reset right there. I missed and I got a reset. The secret about this item is that in order to initiate the full lightning dance effect, it actually reduces the damage of the lightning dance by half. But the nice thing is, if you're killing the mobs anyway, in one hit anyway, does that really matter, you know? I got a reset right there. No reset there, but I'll just activate the effect. So like I said, infinite lightning dance if you want it, and it's really nice to have. Keep missing, man, too far. But yeah, this is a quick way to get some unique and legendary souls, which are just kind of a daily to do. I wouldn't say this is highly necessary, but it's just a quick way to get those materials. You can get demon invitations from this dungeon, quite a few of them, not a terrible amount, but again, these weeklies are all about just slightly boosting your characters, and you know, you might be a little bit, you're missing out quite a bit if you're not doing this weekly. That's what I'm getting at. And like I said, the powerful energy farming is much the same. You're just getting powerful energies out of it. Do it on a character who actually needs it. Those are not tradable items. Neither are the demon invitations, so make sure you do them on a character that actually needs DI. But there you go, get a handful. I think, how many is it? I don't know, like 35 or something like that. So anyway, that's all about these weekly dungeons and powerful energy farming. It is a daily that I would do. Obviously, this is a weekly, and then the powerful energies, I'd only really do it if you obviously need it on a character, which my Dragon Knight definitely needs to do that. I need to stop being lazy about that and just burning my FP and try to refine my weapon, because it's a big damage increase when you do that. Another daily that is indicated by my spreadsheet is I have been doing Econ on a couple of my characters. I'm going to go ahead and jump onto my Battle Mage here. And Econ, yeah, this is something I suggest doing on characters that already have their, you know, legendary set, and, you know, in this case I have a few off epics to make this even easier on myself. I have a Chaser Master, which I got out of the TOA, so all the kinds of things that we've already kind of talked about, this character is ready, and I think once you're ready to do that, if you're not willing to wait for 95 cap, and you want to get a good strong set before then, I think Econ is a really good idea, because you also get, I think it's worthwhile to do it on at least one character every month or so, because you can get some extra Dharma symbols from the Glory Crystal shop here, which is really, really nice. It allows you to get your sets faster, but the problem is it doesn't get you gear faster, and I had to switch characters sadly because I don't have any Terranium on that character, so that's something I'm gonna have to do later as a daily, is farm extra Terranium. In fact, I don't even think this character has any Terranium, so let's go ahead and do that. But yeah, like I said, I'm doing it on both of these characters. Unfortunately ran out of Terranium, so I'm gonna have to do that, but for Terranium farming, definitely Bloody Lane. Super efficient to do that, but and doing Econ clearly was not ready for Econ. Now, admittedly, I don't do it every single day. Econ takes quite a bit of time. Usually I just make sure I do my core easy dailies first. I'm talking the TODs and TOAs and Pandemonium Rift. That's another thing that is also another daily. I can't show you that one sadly, I already did it, but Pandemonium Rift, another daily I would suggest doing. And I did kind of mention that yes, I would suggest having at least one character getting the actual armor pieces so that you can use that character to, you can use the mercenary system to finish a set. But the thing about it is, if you really don't want to do this, you can purchase all of your Econ pieces from just Dharma symbols alone too. That is a possibility. It takes a lot more Dharma symbols to do that, considering that you get so many drops in doing that. Just in comparison, it takes a lot more Dharma symbols to do that. So it's not recommended, but you know, if you don't want to do Econ at all, if you don't want to farm this kind of content, if you don't think it's worth the time, then yeah, you can just use the mercenary system to complete your entire Econ set. Man, I'm having a hard time killing this guy. By buying all of the pieces individually. You also can, the benefit of doing this way is that when you get multiple pieces, you can kind of pick and choose which ones already have the set or the equipment that options that you want, because the kind of thing that happens is that if you don't get an equipment option that you want, you know, you'll have to re-roll it with, you know, you'll have to re-roll that stat, which actually can get pretty expensive and requires an item called the Dharma marks, which are something that can only be farmed if you're actually running it, which yet another reason, these Dharma marks right here, it's not as expensive as it used to be, but it's still something that, you know, if you're not running this, you can't re-roll the stat. So yet another reason, you get a little bit more scrutiny with the gear that you get, and then you can also re-roll the stats that you do get. Dharma symbols, you're going to need a lot just to make the sets. It's not, I just don't think it's viable to actually make a strong set without doing it. So just keeping that in mind. You can see right here, when you do 3 runs of the regular Econ runs, we'll have access to the Econ Strong ones, which I like a lot. It's really just for other bosses that you haven't fought back to back. And much more single target focused battles, obviously, but if you're doing a regular Econ, this should be no problem. And, oh, you cancel me out of the air. Found out that awakening can be used in the air not too long ago, so that's pretty cool. And nice, iframing through that. Look at the Sonic. Pretty dang slow runs altogether, guys. I've not demonstrated my skill with these classes very well, but anyway, here is how you get the Dharma marks, by the way. Really useful item. Again, like I said, to reroll those items. So. And then, you know, you can look at the gear that you got. Any leather pieces for this character. Not a good leather set. This one has crit. That's alright. I guess I'll throw that in there, but it's cursed. I don't really like it. And then later on, when I have a whole selection of them to actually make a set, then I can maybe improve those gears by using the Valor Wave Converters. Only cost 40 Dharma marks, which is 4 days of farming Ekon, and you can convert one of the stats to a stat of your choosing. So it's kind of a way, like I said, if you're a little bit discriminatory in what you want. See, this has attack speed as well as elemental damage mod on it. If I want to try to get the elemental damage mod on it, I'll need to use a Valor Wave, and then this set's good to go. All I need is Dharma symbols, and I can upgrade it, and it's a set piece. We're good to go. So you'll need to farm a little bit. That's what I'm saying here. Don't rely too heavily on the free Dharma marks. This is kind of a supplementary item to help you out. So anyway, that's all about Ekon. Let's talk about a couple other dailies that we have. I'm going to go on my female striker. Now, unfortunately, I already ran my P Rift, but I do think P Rift is something. Another daily I would suggest heavily to do is to do your 3 runs of Pandemonium Rift, which I've been a little bit slacking on since we've gotten a lot of freebies for Pandemonium Rift, but I keep forgetting to actually use them. So use those P Rift tokens. Another thing that I would suggest doing is getting a character that actually has a lot of refined terranium, which this character has a pretty sizable amount. Just keep in mind that this box right here, again, I'll remind you, once you pick it up, actually has 2 terranium in it. If you have neopremium, and you can use that to purchase this daily right here, which is the Seed of Birth pouch, which has basically 210 Seeds of Birth daily for 3 refined terranium, which is very, very efficient. It's pretty much the only good item in this shop, I'll be honest with you. Look at this shit right here. It's like, dude, I get 30 demon invitations for 9 refined terraniums. Are you out of your goddamn mind? That's 90 terranium for 30 DI. They are fucking insane, by the way, for that exchange rate. What? But yeah, the good item in there is the Seeds of Birth, so make sure you get that item and pick it up as a daily, because if you're doing a lot of Beast, I do Beast on 3 different characters, and shit gets expensive, so you'll need to pick that up every day to kind of recoup that cost. So P Rift, as well as picking up that Seed of Birth daily. The last thing I guess we have to talk about, I mean, you know, I consider these dailies, so it's just something that, you know, has a daily limit. You don't have to do everything, but I do have my characters near the bottom of my character select screen, basically these 2 rows of characters, of which are not yet at the same gear level of the other characters that you guys have already seen, like my EXO. Well, this guy's getting there. I'll tell you what, I've been doing it, but you know, I'm getting everybody, you know, their legendary sets. I'm trying to build up their swap set here, and all of that is something that you need to do in the St. Horn region here in the Interdimensional Rift, which I think is the most important daily if you're at the end game, or if you just got into the end game and you don't have epics. The most important daily you can do, aside from anything I've ever mentioned so far in the video, is this, okay? You get 2 items that are absolutely primo necessary at this point in the game. Okay, if you just get to max level and you don't have this stuff, or if you haven't run this dungeon yet, let me tell you, whatever you're doing it wrong, because you need to have farmed up 2 different sets. Okay, one is your primary damage set, which is, you know, it's a good beginner set. Like I said, it's really easy to farm. You need these ancient memory frags to do that, and I still need to get a few pieces, like the Great Glory Bracelet, 6-piece legendary set, and 1 other Sea God pants for my swap purposes, which I already got here actually, which I haven't actually selected here, but yeah, Sea God pants. I think this one dropped for me actually. So anyway, those are legendaries, and you need the ancient memory frag, which you obviously get here. But even, I mean, that's pretty dang important. And you want to know something I think is perhaps even more important than that? This kind of gear is temporary. Once you upgrade to, like, say, an Ekon set, or get yourself some kind of legendary set, you're going to start replacing these pieces of gear. What's even more important than all of that is right here in the buff enhancement system, okay? This character is not a great example, because this character, as of right now, does not have a swap set, but you need to use these interdimensional fragments to get yourself a swap set. Okay, most characters have a Chronicle Set that they use for swapping purposes, and every character needs to have that in their inventory and put into the buff enhancement window. This character does. It is the Black Curtain Magic Stone, or Black Curtain set for this character, and if I look at the 6th set effect, it actually buffs up my Congest skill attack by 10%. And then I have a lot of other gear that actually levels up my Congest skill to give me more damage, and this is something that is used on all of your characters on your account. You know, it's something you have to do on all your characters. Even my highest, strongest character on the account, it's not something you just forget about. All this gear that's down here is in purpose to buff up my character's buff skill, which is, I'm going to say, just as important, if not more important, than the actual gear that you wear. Okay, so this is not something that you can kind of ignore if you don't know about it. At least I can at least touch on it here, but this is probably the next guide video you guys are going to see from me, is talking about that system. It's really important. At least I'll be mentioning it here soon. Actually, it won't be the next guide video. It'll be just something I keep in mind. I've already have a script on this, but this system is super important, and this is where you do a good portion of that system here, is in farming this content here, obviously. So on top of getting the ancient memory fragments, you also get the interdimensional fragments, which are the purple ones, and those you can use to purchase your set pieces, or your swap set pieces, whether it be the Tainted Chronicles, like I have right here. The Tainted Chronicles actually drop off the mobs here all the time, and you can use that to get your buff swap, and or you can get a set piece for, you know, in the case of my DT, she had a very particular set piece that buffed up one of my skills. Either the case, whatever the case is, that's how you can kind of build for it, I guess. Ooh, anything I was gonna kill. So it all starts here. It all stems here. You're doing this content right here for 2 different purposes. Like I said, one is your damage set for your legendary set, as well as the other legendaries that you can get from here, and then the next is for your buff set. Huge, of massive importance. Everybody needs to do it at some point, so might as well do it ASAP. This is not hard content or anything. This is kind of why I saved it for the end, because it's something that I usually end up just doing at the end, just because I have 5 runs of it a day. That's kind of the limit. You have to do this 5 times to you get 5 entries into it. And if you have an item that now it's a Sarah Shop item, but it's basically a reset ticket. I have several hundreds of these, but yeah, this reset ticket right here allows you to go an extra 5 times in the day. So if you really want to get there quicker and finish your sets that you're trying to do a lot faster, you can do that. In my case, I have a lot of characters that have not done it yet, so I think it's much more efficient to just do my 5 runs on this character and then quickly move on to the next. So don't have to waste those tickets so soon. You do need some endless eternities though, so you can see I keep running out of resources on these characters. You need 5 endless eternities every time you do this, so it's not something you can just do forever. You'll need to at some point farm endless eternities or buy them. Maybe more efficient to buy them nowadays, but sometimes you can get the Gruff encounter, which you can see here is actually quite a challenging boss fight if you're not really geared. Luckily I already have my legendary set, so it's not going to be as hard, but yeah, you do sometimes get the Gruff encounter, and that is a great way for you to get legendaries in terms of legendary armor, weapon, accessory, any of those. And you could also get a card box, which could have unique cards in them, which could be very, very valuable. Unfortunately, you can only get rewards from Gruff 2 times a week, so you can keep getting him to spawn, but the problem is after you get rewards 2 times, he stops dropping items, which I think, no, he, right there, you can see he dropped his full items, because I have yet to encounter him 2 times this week. So you'll notice when you kill him, if you've killed him more than 2 times for the week, he's only going to drop like a couple items, and they're not going to be any of the, what I just said before, they're not going to be the legendaries or the cards or anything like that. He doesn't drop that unless you know, he hasn't dropped, or you haven't encountered him at least twice already. So ideally, you know, if you're trying to farm for Gruff, the Gruff battle, and you're trying to farm for legendaries or the cards, ideally when you meet him 2 times per week on that character, you stop playing that character for the week. So it's kind of like an alternate reason why you do this dungeon even at the max level. So yes, at some point I'm going to be done farming my legendary set. I'm going to be done farming my, my Chronicle or my swap sets or whatever, and these are not going to be as useful to me. But if you're farming Gruff, it's yet another reason why you might still want to come into here, because the legendaries that Gruff gives are pretty dang, can be pretty dang useful. I mean, we're talking all range of things that can be useful. Another reason why you might want to do this content is for legendary soul farming. At one point in my history of DFO, I needed a lot of legendary souls. I won't say why, but legendary souls. This is the best place to get them, because what you can do is any legendaries that you craft, you can disassemble for 1 legendary soul. So it takes 600 memory fragments. We'll just go to the NPCs in question here. The NPCs over here are actually who give you, like these guys right here, give you, your Chronicle sets. This is Chronicle 2. This character gives you Chronicle 3 stuff. So if you want to purchase a set with all of the purple fragments that you're getting, here's where you do that. And you get so many of them, you can get any set that you want and be exactly very particular about it. Same thing with Luther over here. He focuses on the ancient memory fragments and can get you any legendary that you want. And you can use this to intentionally buy something, like you can buy a Raccoon weapon chest right here. Since I have a ton apparently of these appeasing stones, I can then use this to buy a bunch of legendary weapons, which I can then disassemble intentionally. Just whatever, let me just grab a weapon. I can then disassemble that intentionally and get a legendary soul out of it. But I wanted to mention this in particular because it's not the only thing you can do with those legendary weapons, okay? You can also take these legendary weapons and use them in the Kiri's crafting system. So it's yet another thing you can do with legendary weapons, is you can use them as really good catalysts for Kiri's crafting system. By doing it, you can actually get yourself a lot of materials by doing the catalyst crafting. Basically, you can get yourself some special catalysts which only use the legendary weapons as a catalyst. So I'm talking Gracia weapons, Dusky weapons, as well as the Requiem weapons right here. Good catalyst for this. Don't hit the button though, okay? But if you're gonna do this, strategy to get yourself some special catalysts, make certain that you at least reinforce and refine the weapon once, because you get an extra catalyst every time you do that. So before you do that, go ahead and reinforce it if that's your purpose. Now, I can't trade these weapons, so of course you have to do this kind of farming on the character that you want to get your epic weapon crafted on, but it's just another daily that you might consider, okay? There are a lot of other reasons why you still want to do OV content, even after the fact that you've gotten your legendary set and your swap set. So there's kind of some ideas planted into your head as to what you can do at the end game. Hopefully I was able to show off most of what I've been doing now. Most of the other stuff has just been raid content, but of course this kind of stuff takes a lot longer the more characters I'm doing it on. I have basically, as of late, been doing all of these characters. I've been doing their OVs. They're all in the Saint Horn, and they're all doing their 5 runs. So this takes a lot longer than, say, the TOD and shit like that. This is something that, by this point, I feel like I'm done with my dailies. Now I'm just kind of, this is extra. This is kind of extra stuff. The other stuff that I kind of mentioned, those are kind of things that I want to make sure I do. This, I'm in no real rush. Just got black curtain shoes right there, which are good for your swap set. So I'm in no real rush to finish these, but these characters are not yet fully geared. You guys can see here, this character's only partially got her Dusky set, so I'm working on it. So that's kind of how this goes, guys. I'm getting close to getting all of the characters in the game, at least in a legendary set, getting all the characters in the game that are swap sets, and it's all due in part to most of these dailies that I've been doing. TOD, TOA, all of them are getting the weapons. This kind of content is getting them their swap set, as well as their I should have used a different move there. Oh no, it killed them. This kind of content is getting their swap set and a pretty decent legendary set. Farming Pandemonium Rift could get you some epics, and all of that really, really nice. Of course, The other things that you'll have to remember to do, make sure to do any events that you got going on. Epic Road to Transcendence, I need to do my 3 runs here. You know, if you're doing the space-time train, make sure to do those runs. But those are kind of like something that they're seasonal kind of dailies. These are kind of dailies. The ones that I'm doing right now are kind of timeless until we get 95 cap and the dailies change yet again. But until then, guys, that's what I've been doing on the account. Those are my account dailies for now. Hope you guys enjoyed the video and hopefully spark some kind of idea as to what other dailies you can do. But anyway, guys, thanks for watching, and I will catch you nights later.